Welcome everyone to the University of California, Santa Barbara Counselor Webinar Series. The month of November is here, which is fun and exciting and also slightly terrifying, right? I can't believe that it's the second week of November, but I do believe it because our supplemental applications have opened for some of our programs. So today's webinar for our fun counselor community is the supplemental application process. We'll do some general information, which is going to be true of all the UC campuses, and then we'll do a deep dive into Santa Barbara's process for our dance, for our music, as well as for our College of Creative Studies. If you did not already know, the University of California application is where your students will be told if and when a supplemental application is required. Now, if a student wants to just send a portfolio or they're hoping that they can show evidence of talent as a supplement, time out. Unless it's specifically requested or required, we will not use it. That means that your student can't just send me something because they think that it would be beneficial to their evaluation and to their review. When it comes to the application itself, we hope that students will find themselves really looking at the application as a way to get to know us and for us to get to know them. So they'll be able to look at it and really go through. When it comes to the application, remember, if it's not requested or required, I don't want it. So in the application process, we do have a few recommendations, and that is that if your student is looking at that supplement, that they make note of the websites that we have on board. We'll send these out to students if and when they apply in a major that has a supplement. So I hope that you'll be able to look at these particular questions that your students have and go, oh, hey, check out the College of Creative Studies or look at the departmental website. Got it? Good. Let me actually show you what it looks like. I always encourage my counseling community to start their own UC application. Have you done yours? Maybe, maybe not. But I go into the application over and over again on a daily basis. Part of it is so that I can screenshot and share with community friends. The other part is just so that I can see how the application's worded. And oftentimes students don't read the fine print. I know, you're shocked by that, right? Well, for the University of California, Santa Barbara campus, for example, when a student is applying to our dance major at UCSB, they actually see dance as a Bachelor of Arts, and then they see dance as a Bachelor of Fine Arts, so that BFA. They're told that it's a closed to entering students, and oftentimes that's all they read. Oh, it's closed, what am I gonna do? I can't believe it. But they don't notice that it says apply to the BA above for the audition process. So this is one of those things where I hope that you started your own application and that you are able to follow along with your students to see those small little differences between it's closed and it's closed, but you can apply to the BA and then change into the BFA afterwards. Now, within the application process, if your student is applying to any of the 9 undergraduate campuses and they click the box that says major or even alternate major, that gray box will pop up. And when it does, it will tell your student whether or not an audition is required or a portfolio is recommended. If it is required or recommended, that's the open door that a student has to submit something else or to allow the admissions office another opportunity to get to know them. For freshmen or for transfer students, this is real. Now, freshman and transfer admissions processes will vary, and note that at the freshman level, there is going to be a little bit more wiggle room for students when it comes to auditions and supplements. At the transfer level, it's kind of one and done. Now for UCSB, our freshmen and our transfer students, there are audition processes for our dance and music majors. Now, when I click on music performance, for example, because we offer more than one music major at Santa Barbara, the students will clearly see that it's the Bachelor of Music that requires the audition. And we've put into place a link specifically for students to read about what the audition process is all about. We're going to go through that today so you can see exactly what I'm asking students. But this particular link is going to showcase the differences between the areas of music that we offer in the Bachelor of Music. So a student who wants to do piano versus a student who wants to play the flute and major in that will have a different audition process. So we've listed all of the different instruments for students. Now, we did this within the UC application. There are other college campuses, my colleagues across the UC system, who have put this information into the link alone. So that's also a difference between campuses and the supplemental applications. Sometimes it's in the application, but always it's going to be on that individual departmental website. Now, within the application process for our students, if they apply to music performance, they click that button that right there that says, I want to be a music major, and they never follow through with the audition, they're not going to be admitted. Let's just be honest here. Within the application process, this is a two-step admission. Step one is the University of California application that must be submitted by November 30th. And then step two is the audition or the supplement. So in a music major, if there's nothing there for me and there's no alternate major, I don't know that the student wants to be with me. Now, that's the truth for many of the UC campuses, so students need to be aware of that. That's also for Santa Barbara a really good point. The alternate major does exist. So we'll talk about how that's used later on. Let's go into depth and talk about those music performance majors and what we're looking for. And this is the complexity of our websites, and oftentimes why students are going to come to you as counselors going, I don't get it. What is it that they want from me? So the University of California, Santa Barbara, in our music department website has outlined what we're asking your students to complete. Now, we've told them on our website that we hope that winter quarter there might be an opportunity to do in-person instruction. It will depend on where we are with the pandemic and COVID-19, but we will plan for having virtual auditions. So those virtual auditions for the music program, for the Bachelor of Music specifically, will be different from a freshman student applying versus a transfer student applying. Now, not every student is going to click those two separate buttons on the website. So this is where you can make sure that your student is paying attention. What are the freshman admissions requirements versus what are the transfer admissions requirements? I'll show you some of those differences between the two. When it comes to the requirements for music at Santa Barbara, our faculty are looking at the student's ability and their proficiency within their instrument. And when it comes to their instrument, they're outlining what they're anticipating that audition will be, and also what we request of the student as recommended. Of course, you know, when something is recommended, you've told students, oh, it's not really recommended, it's required. And in the audition process, I'm going to say that that might be true. We really do want students to showcase the best of their abilities. So when it comes to, for example, voice, a freshman applicant is required to do a minimum of 2 songs or arias, one in a foreign language. So one of those 2 will be in French or Italian or in German, but no popular songs, no folk songs. So a student can't start singing, We Are the World, or they can't start singing, Adele, right? That's not going to be part of the voice program at UCSB. It might be their favorite song and they might have been really working on it, and it might be where they end up going with their voice after they've graduated from UCSB's music department. But in the audition process, it's that classic trained voice that the faculty are looking for so that that range of motion is available. On the opposite end, you might find that students are looking at an instrument like the oboe, which stands alone versus some of the other categories, where the faculty that are teaching oboe have specifically asked for 2 contrasting movements, one technical and one lyrical, and a solo work from a different time period. So students might go, what does that mean? And if they're a musician, they actually should know this. There shouldn't be ambiguity there. But if they're concerned at all, this is where our advisor comes in, and that's a really good place to go. The Office of Admissions can give you the general guidelines, but the academic advisor in the department that is hosting that audition is going to be the one who can give those particular options and opportunities, like, oh, you should be looking at this particular movement, or here's an example of this particular composer that you can work to perfect in your audition. Don't hesitate. Have your students remember, don't hesitate to reach out to the department advisor. Actually, that's a bonus. And oftentimes those students that do reach out are the ones that have that leg up because they've got more confidence when it comes to that audition process. Yes, you can technically be the one that reaches out for your student. I'm not going to be upset if that happens, but it does help the student build their confidence if they're the one listening to the advisor say this particular information out loud. As you can see, the bassoon, the clarinet, the flute, the French horn, the trombone, the trumpet, and the tuba at UCSB all have pretty much the same requirements. 2 or more contrasting works from a standard literature for the particular instrument that the student is auditioning for. And when it comes to these particular instruments, it's about technical proficiency at UCSB. Some student might have a lot of potential or promise, and that's something that maybe in voice, a faculty member would say, I can help that student. But when it comes to those particular instruments, those wood instruments versus those string instruments, there are differences with what the faculty are asking for. So let's talk about those string instruments: the cello, the viola, the violin, the bass. 2 or more contrasting works from standard literature, from the instrument, and again, demonstrating technical proficiency. For many of our students, what they're going to find is that this is pretty typical of an audition process on Santa Barbara's campus versus Davis's campus, and so forth. Anyone who has that Bachelor of Music program for freshman students. On the opposite end, though, again, transfer admission is different. And part of that reason is a transfer student is going to come in and we want them to complete their 4-year university degree in a 2+2 program. That means 2 years at a community college and their last 2 years at the University of California. So if they come in without that technical knowledge, without that proficiency, it could be a 3 or 4 year time period, and that's not beneficial to any of your transfer students. So if I do have some transfer love in the house, hey, my transfer friends, my community members, I want to make sure that you're recognizing there is a small difference for your students when it comes to these auditions. When it comes to the transfer music requirements, voice, look at the differences here between what we were saying for freshmen and what we were saying for transfer. The program must include French, German, Italian, and English songs. So there is no pick one extra language where the freshman students can then work on their particular language and their voice in these. We are now telling the student they have to do these different this different voice in these different languages. So this is a really good point for students. The other conversation piece here is that look at piano for freshmen. Let me go back really quickly. I didn't talk about it. 3 contrasting works from different historical periods. Lots of open interpretation for a freshman music student. But a transfer student has 4 contrasting works from different historical periods played from memory. That's underlined there for your student. So they're not going to come in and put their sheet music on the piano and start playing. They will be playing these works from memory. There is a different expectation that a student has at the junior level versus at the freshman level in our music department. And that will be true for your students to demonstrate in that audition period. Ooh, okay. I want to point out the websites for you. I will point those out momentarily, but I want to see that there are some questions. You found the chat box, so no problem when it comes to the application. Okay, let's see. Question number 1, BFA, best friends forever? You know you love to play with my mind. All right, my dear friends, BFA, the Bachelor of Fine Arts. That is what that stands for. Next question, will we be available online? Yes, all of our counselor webinars are posted on our counselor webpage. Cool, thanks guys for asking questions. I appreciate that. You can also ask in the Q&A box if you're feeling confident and comfortable. I will do my best to answer questions as they come along for each subject. But here's what I want you to note. On the website for music, there is a big picture of Heidi. There she is, isn't she great? There's also her email address. Because of the pandemic and remote instruction, we don't have phone numbers listed for many of our advisors. They are working from home. But Heidi has both email and Zoom appointments that your students can make requests for. Those for our music department are going to be limited from Monday through Thursday. But while, yes, she's working with current students, I will repeat, if anything noted on the website or the audition process is confusing, the student needs to reach out to the advisor. It is the best course of action. Promise me? Perfect. All right. Let's talk a little bit about dance. I love it. Now, if you didn't know, UC Santa Barbara's dance program is a smaller program within the state of California. The dance program itself has a platform of ballet, and then it builds upon that. So contemporary and hip hop and other dance venues, I'm sorry, not dance venues, dance options. Within UC Santa Barbara, we even have our professional dance company. You see that the picture on the screen is showcasing a 30-year anniversary. There's also a freshman dance troupe. So the goal is for our students to be on stage in their first year. There is a senior dance company that travels. Note that it says 10th European tour, because oftentimes during the summer, our dance students are traveling through the East Coast, New York. They're traveling to Europe, getting to perform and live the life of a dancer. One of the reasons many students will choose the University of California for dance programs versus a conservatory is that, yes, I can study dance, and it feels like a conservatory in the fact that I've got those studio spaces, I've got the professors who are still practicing either choreographing or dancing professionally, teaching my classes. But then the next level is that for a University of California campus, the student also has the option and opportunity to look at a theory-based and research institution and use those resources. At UCSB, over 50% of our dance majors double major. The ability to add something as diverse as chemistry, or the ability to add something like global studies or political science, is a reality for UCSB students. The dance faculty really want students to have that balance if that's a request from them. And so when it comes to dance auditions, if a student is telling me that they want to be a dance major, the dance audition process has already been set for the class of 2021 at UCSB. Unlike the music program, which is saying, hey, check back, we know we're probably going to go virtual, but fingers crossed we can do something in person. The dance faculty have already created their outline for what a student needs to do in order to provide a video submission. So the class of 2021's video submission can be submitted now through January 22nd. That is the hard deadline for students who are applying to UC Santa Barbara. Now, this is both a freshman and a transfer deadline. The student will find that there's on the website a registration page. I'm giving you the link, but your students will have access to it from the application itself. And the submission process for dance is 2 steps. Well, actually 3. UC application in November. And then the next thing is that they'll complete a registration form. And the third thing is that they will email their recorded video to the University of California, Santa Barbara Dance Department. These particular steps can take time, which is why we're talking about this now in November versus this particular session was often given in December and January. No one's paying attention in December, and January, you've got a deadline coming up. So your students should be thinking about this process now. They don't have to go out and film everything today, but they do need to understand the differences that our faculty are looking at when it comes to an audition via video submission. Okay, so when it comes to that video submission, what are the faculty on my campus looking for? Well, it's probably pretty self-explanatory that we want to see the student themselves, and we want them to be able to look at the requirements and interpret them. Okay, so first of all, the faculty at UCSB aren't looking for perfection in dance from day one. That would just make their jobs irrelevant, right? The dance faculty is looking for the potential the student has in order to create and interpret dance. And mostly what used to happen in our in-person auditions was that we'd actually audition for students. The faculty would come out and explain, I'm Christopher, this is my mantra, here's what I do, here's my choreography. I believe everything has an ability to showcase passion from your elbow to your wrist, and all of these are important in how I teach. Blah, 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 blah. And honestly, our students would often come out and also perform for our audition folks. And it was beautiful to watch this day-long process. Well, unfortunately with COVID, it's not a reality. So our audition process has moved to a video submission, but we're still trying to get the feel of the student. So there is a great description within the audition page for the dance department that talks about UCSB's mantra, what it is that we're looking for in a student. And then it tells specifically your students that we're looking for daily training. We're looking for strengths that students have. We're looking for students to showcase their ability to choreograph. And if they've never choreographed something before, then our faculty are really excited to know that, because the student can talk to us and say, this is my first choreographed routine. I hope you like it. And that now sets context for the faculty committee that's evaluating the dance audition. So within the application, we hope that students will know, while we do teach on a platform of ballet, that the student can choose their dance style within the audition. So hip hop, ballet, jazz, contemporary, there are so many options, and students don't have to be limited to that ballet option, which is the platform for UCSB's teaching. Okay, now within the application, what you're going to find is that we are looking at a video submission that showcases the student talking to the department. And again, not the admissions office, because the admissions office has no way to judge the student's dance talent. We take the faculty recommendation from the audition into the evaluation process. The second part is that students will embody their practice and show their techniques. And then the third part is that students will actually do a solo that they've created. So boom, boom, boom. This is then uploaded into a YouTube channel, a Vimeo channel, something that is then emailed to the faculty committee that will evaluate these particular audition pieces. The reason why there's a January deadline is that faculty will have to spend time going through these particular audition tapes and then notify the Office of Admissions in February. Yeah, that might seem like a long period of time, but it's not, because there is a large faculty committee that's still teaching classes. This is not their full-time job. So the goal and the ambition of your student is not to be coy, it's to showcase who they are. And yes, lighting and camera action, and is this extra work? Probably, but for safety and security reasons, the pandemic is requiring this particular process for our dance auditions. Just like the music department, the dance faculty have a great advisor in place. So Sean O'Shea is the undergraduate advisor. He's a full-time staff member that works with both the theater and the dance department at UCSB, since it is one singular department on our campus. And he's available to students via email as well. Ooh, okay, questions have come up. Let me make sure that I'm answering them. Question. Are we going to talk about any theater programs, or is this a different webinar? Yes, of course. So the only thing I want to talk about theater, because now that we're on the Sean O'Shea slide, is that there is no freshman theater audition process. Let that sink in. UC Santa Barbara has a 4-year theater Bachelor of Arts program, which our freshman applicants will apply to. There is a Bachelor of Fine Arts, a BFA, in acting at UCSB. We're actually the only University of California campus to have a BFA in acting. I know, you're surprised by that, but it's true. What you're going to find is that our freshman applicants will audition in their freshman year at UCSB. So for students, what they're going to find is that if they want 100% guarantee that they're going to be in that acting program and they're applying as freshmen, I don't have it, because they will start in the general program taking coursework in stage, lighting, set design, acting, directing, screenwriting. And then in the spring term, they will audition. So auditions happen twice a year in the theater department, and that is May and September. Okay, transfer students. So my transfer students, when it comes to this particular program, are going to find under the auditions process that we've listed for you in, again, the Department of Theater and Dance. We've listed for students specifically that the transfer applicants have the ability to audition when they're applicants. So freshmen cannot, but transfer can. And part of the reason is that the BFA is actually a 3-year conservatory program. It's an amazing opportunity for students to really hone in on their skills of working on the stage and theater. So our transfer applicants can choose to audition in May while the process of them being admitted is fresh and they know that they want UCSB. Or they can audition in September. Now, remember, UCSB is on the quarter system, so this would be before classes start typically. And that would allow them to then enter into the program into their junior year as transfer students and work from there. Again, options and opportunities, and students need to ask themselves, do I want to guarantee beforehand, or am I looking for something to follow my passion with the knowledge that I have access to the stage and screen? All of our students who want to dance, who want to play music, but don't want to major in dance or music or theater can take heart that across the UC campuses, auditions are actually open to every student. So I can audition for the jazz band and the orchestra. I can audition for that ballet class because it makes me happy. And I don't have to be a dance or a music major. I can be part of one of the ensemble groups, or I can find myself auditioning for that dance performance that's happening on, movement and sound. I can do that without being in the department. Now, granted, the department will find the students really auditioning, and they've got the practice and they've got the classes, so they tend to be really well versed and ready, but it's not a given. So many of our students love that particular ability is, again, that interdisciplinary nature of being on a UC campus versus an art school by itself or a conservatory school by itself. All right, question. If a student wants to double major in dance and biology, how does he indicate that on the application? Great question. So the student will find that they can choose at UCSB to put biology as their first or second choice, dance as their first or second choice. When they do that, the audition for dance information will pop up. And if they follow through on the audition, then we'll be evaluating them for the program. So if dance is their alternate major and biology was their first choice, the Office of Admissions doesn't look at major, so it's irrelevant for us at UCSB. But the dance department will be evaluating their audition. At the end of the process in February, the dance department will share with the Office of Admissions, here are the students who passed the audition. Here are students that we want on our campus. Those particular students will then find in the UCSB portal, when their decision is announced, that they will get information about how they got admitted to UCSB. You were admitted biology, but also congratulations, you passed the dance audition if you'd like to double major or if you'd like to switch into dance. That is an option at UCSB. Oh, fun. I love these questions. Thanks for asking. Right. I will point one more thing out about our theater program while Sean's on the screen, and I'll put this back out there. For UC Santa Barbara, when it comes to the theater program, we do have a very different program from some of our sister campuses. The Bachelor of Arts is based on students being able to go in and look at the different sides of theater, again, stage theater. Many of our students will also look at our Greenlight project as a great way to build their resume. So we work with local screen playwriters to put together an act for them. First quarter, we're evaluating, we're performing, we're setting the scene, we're directing. Second quarter, we're building, we're setting the design, we're building the costumes. And then third quarter, we actually produce that particular play, that particular act. And we bring in industry to watch it. So it's green lighted with the hope that our students have allowed that for that screenwriter. Great options and opportunities also for students to do a minor in theater production at UCSB. I've had students from computer science to political science who minor in theater production because that's one of their passions. So this is something that students can look at. Is there a minor available in the program that I'm asking for? While there is no minor in dance, there is one in theater. So yay. Oh, I love these questions. You guys are the best. I love this. Questions. Are all dance majors notified at the same time, or is it a rolling admissions? And the answer is everyone is notified at the same time when their admissions decision is posted in March. So our freshman admissions will be posted in March. Our transfer admissions decisions will be posted in April. So when your student is notified, yes, I got admitted, it will then tell them you got admitted to dance or undeclared, you got admitted to history or to music. That's going to be there for them. Okay, let's keep going to the College of Creative Studies, which is our unique gem at UCSB. So the College of Creative Studies at Santa Barbara offers 8 majors: art, biology, chemistry and biochemistry, computing, mathematics, music composition, physics, writing, and literature. These 8 programs are going to be offered often in our other colleges at Santa Barbara, and your students might not know the difference between them. So here's a little hint. The College of Letters and Science is the liberal arts platform at Santa Barbara, which gives the student the opportunity to look at the broad scope and the interdisciplinary nature of their major. So biology as it relates to political science, or mathematics as it relates to statistics, right? There are differences. Broad scope. The College of Creative Studies, on the other hand, is for the student with a narrow focus. Do you have a student who is obsessed with a subset of their area of interest? So it's not art as a whole, but it's sculpture or painting. It's not music as a whole, but it's composition specifically. Not physics, but astrophysics or quantum physics. Is that your student? If the answer is yes, then when it comes to the information that students have access to at UCSB, they're going to find that the College of Creative Studies will give them the opportunity to really explore from day one as an undergraduate student that narrow focus. Faculty think of students in the College of Creative Studies as peers who will carry the mantle of their research, who are looking at that PhD track to create new knowledge in their field. Ooh, yes, think about that. Isn't that amazing? Anyhow, step 1 is that the student will make that interest known in the UC application. Every student needs to submit a UC application. That is not an option. Step 2 is then a supplemental application that is going to be available online through the College of Creative Studies website. Now, the College of Creative Studies happens to showcase this particular beautiful website, and there is going to be an apply button that the student will have access to. It will outline, again, you have to apply to UCSB through the UC application, and then they'll click the CCS link there and get themselves into a portal where they'll create a login that's unique to this application site as well. This application is open for the class of 2021, and it will remain open through December. Students will find that December 28th is the deadline for the supplemental application. While some students can try and turn it in late, it will be noted when the student applied, if they applied by the deadline or after the deadline. And the supplemental application is not evaluated by the admissions office. Instead, it's a faculty committee in the department the student is applying for. What? Think about it. This is almost like a graduate school admissions process, right? A faculty committee in physics or in writing or in art comes together to read the supplemental application. And the goal is to look at the passion that the student has, the abilities that the student have, the potential that the student has. That's what the faculty are looking for in the supplemental application in the College of Creative Studies at UCSB. Now, that faculty committee is going to be looking at just the supplement. The faculty doesn't have access to the UC application. That's outlined first and foremost in that landing page that I just showed you a second ago. Your students, though, don't often read it. So please hone in. If you've got a student applying to the College of Creative Studies as a freshman or a transfer student, the UC application and the supplement do not go together to the faculty committee. So students do need to repeat themselves in the supplemental application if something really relevant to their potential major or their accomplishments is listed in the application to UC. Now, while your student chooses a first or second choice major in the College of Creative Studies, if they go through and read that supplement and can submit it by December 28th, we in the Office of Admissions are evaluating their freshman application for selection or looking at their transfer selection requirements. And we're doing this simultaneously from the faculty review. We will see, can we admit this student even if they don't get selected into the College of Creative Studies? There's the login portal one more time just for your view. And then here's what you need to know. When it comes to the College of Creative Studies, the sciences and the math components, these particular components in the supplemental application are going to have 3 requirements. So biology, chemistry and biochemistry, computing, mathematics, physics. These 5 programs will require a letter of intent from the student and require 2 letters of recommendation. Whoa, hold it. Wait, letters of recommendation, what? Yeah, the general application to the University of California does not allow for letters of recommendation, but a supplemental application does, and it can here in the College of Creative Studies for these 5 specific majors. Now, those letters of recommendation, the twofold, should be coming from individuals who know the student in the major they're applying to. You might really know the student, you might be passionate about how amazing they are, but is there a biology professor or a teacher on your campus that has seen them work in biology? Because that might be actually more beneficial to your student. So this is something that students need to start asking for now if it's due by December. Your student will have to enter who is their letter of recommendation writer and add that email. That individual will get a link and then we'll be able to upload that letter of recommendation. This all happens within that portal. So students should not be sending the Office of Admissions or via snail mail anything to the College of Creative Studies. Instead, there is a link for students to upload a transcript. Again, not to the Office of Admissions. Now, the requirement of a transcript is so that the faculty can look at their progression within their dedicated subject. If a student is applying to chemistry, but they've really not done well in science, not necessarily the strongest student for a chemistry degree in the College of Creative Studies. They might want to start at UCSB's College of Letters and Science in chemistry instead, where they can build their footing, build that passion, understand that they really are looking at that track for postgrad and or creating new knowledge in that field. The beautiful thing about the College of Creative Studies is that they have a rolling admission for current students. Now, my freshmen and my sophomores can choose to apply. Unfortunately, my juniors, you need to come in your junior year into the College of Creative Studies. They have a residency requirement that must be 6 quarters. That's 2 years equivalent in that college. Now, the last thing I'll point out is that within these 5 majors, students can add evidence of talent. So they can turn in a research paper that they've done. They can talk about that program that they attended. They can talk about the academy that they're in and why they chose that, right? They can add that as optional within the application itself. All right, really different, right? But here it gets even more complex. For the College of Creative Studies, when it comes to art, music, composition, and writing and literature, the last 3 majors, the requirements are going to be slightly different. So my art students and my music students and my writing students have a letter of intent. That letter of intent has very specific instructions for my students. This is not just, oh, I love writing. Writing is great. Writing is fabulous. You know, writing is fun. No. There's actually, for the class of 2021, some very specific information that our students have to have. So for writing and literature, as an example, it's a 2 to 3 page letter, professionally formatted to the writing and literature faculty. So you better bet that style, structure, grammar are all going to be evaluated. In that letter of intent, the faculty want an introduction. You know, what are the goals and ambitions and interests of the student? And then they want a description of what's the most recent reading experience that you've had that changed your understanding of literature, life, and or language. Ooh. So the student needs to come up with something original. It can't be the same thing that they put together for a different school or a different university. On the other hand, an art student's letter of intent happens to be, again, to the faculty, but it's more of describe aspects of your personal background, accomplishment, or experiences with diversity that you feel are important in evaluating your application. That's what the faculty have asked the students to think about and contemplate in their writing as an art student. So again, students need to maintain that letter of intent as original work and following the instructions in the portal for students. Just like all the other CCS students, there is an unofficial transcript that the student has to upload into the portal. And this one, it is required now to show that letter, that talent, the evidence of talent. So my art students will have a portfolio up to 15 pieces that are combined into one single work and uploaded. You'll find that composition students will have relevant media or music scores that they've already created, not something that they might do in the future, but they actually have to have composition created. Recordings are optional, but always great as an option, as a evidence of talent. And then, of course, my writing students will have to show writing samples. So within the application process, I will point out one more time the website. Boom, here we go. So your students will be linked to this page. They'll have, again, step 1, applying to UCSB, step 2, the CCS application, and they often stop here. Encourage them to scroll down. I know, scrolling, what is that? They'll see point blank that writing, that letter of intent, and that information. They'll see the work submitted for evidence of talent and those description boxes. Before they've even logged into the supplement, they can start working on this, compiling this information. They'll know that they have the option within the application to share details with us. And new for the class of 2021, letters of recommendation are an option for art and music composition students, but writing and literature students will not be able to submit letters of recommendation. I know, that's not fair, but we want to really base it on the student's writing ability, not their potential from a third party that we don't know. Okay, let me go to questions. How are we feeling? Are we excited? Is this all brand new to you? Did I give you something, little tidbit that was exciting and new? I hope so. First, let me make sure that you've got the CCS website. There's the link for you. And then let me go to the questions. Let's see. Thanks for confirming that there's not a dance minor at UCSB. You're welcome. Did I hear correctly that students can take dance classes, but they need to audition? Yes. So if I'm, let's pretend I'm a writing and literature student in the College of Creative Studies, and I've danced ballet for 10 years and I just don't want to give it up. I still want to practice and I want to take ballet. And so I can walk into the dance department and I can say, I'd love to register for ballet 1. And the advisor will say, talk to the faculty member and audition. As long as you're not going to hurt yourself and there's space in the class, our faculty are happy to include someone who's passionate about dance, even if they're not a dance major. This doesn't happen within the application. You don't say, I want to take dance classes. This will happen physically when students register for classes during their registration period. All right. I love this. The dance website indicates that the program is changing. Is there information available about those changes? Yes. So over the course of the next 5 years, the dance faculty want to evolve the program. It has been very typical ballet. And the goal is to morph it into seeing how a student can contribute to the diversity of expression, choreography, and more. And I think the goal is also to bring in other aspects of dance that are more prominent versus a class or two. And that description is actually in the application itself. I should find that application link and get it to you. I'll do my best to get that before the session is over. Question: if the student does not get into their first choice major, will they be considered for an alternate major? Yes. For the College of Creative Studies, if a student is applying first choice physics and they don't get in at Santa Barbara, we will look to see, is there an alternate major? There is. Great. What is that? If it's music composition, or if it's history, or if it's in the College of Letters and Science, I want to point out, this is the part that's often confusing for many of your students. So our College of Letters and Science at UC Santa Barbara happens to house anything from anthropology, economics, math, physics, religious studies, brain sciences, and more. Within this college, major is not a factor. So when your student lists one of these majors as their first choice and then something else as an alternate, I'm not looking at the first or the alternate because major is not a factor. But when your student applies to maybe something like physics in the College of Creative Studies and then don't get in, then I will default them to the College of Letters and Science in that physics program. And it's up to them whether or not they want to stay there or move to something else, and whether or not they want to be at UCSB if they're not in the College of Creative Studies. We do this automatically for the majors in the College of Creative Studies, except for computing, because computing is actually through the computer science department in the College of Engineering. So if a student applies first choice computing and does not have an alternate major, if the supplemental application does not grant them admission, then they would be denied to UCSB. Whew, all right. Just confirming, dance audition admissions decisions are not on a rolling basis. That is correct. Now, our faculty have often emailed students telling them, you passed the audition. We try to refrain from having them do that, but I can't stop them. They're faculty, they have power. But note that just because a student passed the audition doesn't mean that the student got admitted to UCSB. The process is happening simultaneously. The audition happens here, the admissions evaluation happens here. In March, we merged these two together to see whether or not the student is offered admission and whether or not they're offered admission into the major that they applied to, be it dance, be it music, be it the College of Creative Studies. This is great. This is fabulous. And we're coming to the end of our session. I wanted to point out one more thing. I said this out loud again, but I just wanted to say it one more time. In the College of Letters and Science, UC Santa Barbara does not admit by major. That means that a student will not be impacted if they're biology, history, dance, music, or anything else. If a student passes the audition or doesn't pass the audition, the Office of Admissions is still looking at the student to see, are they a good fit for UCSB? If they are, we will admit the student either into their major that they selected, biology, economics, whatever. If they didn't pass the audition for music or dance, they can find themselves in an undeclared or in that music studies major, which doesn't require an audition versus music performance. Students can often find additional auditions during the academic year. So in my freshman year, I can re-audition for the dance major. I can re-audition for music performance in my freshman year if I didn't pass the audition as an incoming student. I know, I just threw a curveball at you, didn't I? The fun and exciting part of the College of Creative Studies is that the College of Creative Studies really is unique, and this was a really brief overview of the program itself because we were talking about the audition process. So I want to share with you a link to an amazing recording which was with the dean of the college as well as the advisor Savannah, who you see on the screen as the point of contact. So that particular YouTube video showcases an overview of each of the 8 programs, so a student can really understand what is physics, what is computing, what our faculty look for, and then a repetition of those requirements for the supplemental application, because Savannah is your point of contact for not just you, the counselor, but also your students as they have questions through the application. That is now in the chat box for you. Please share that with your students. You might have just had an aha moment. Oh, I have a student that might be perfect for the College of Creative Studies. Hopefully you'll share this link with them so that they can watch it and decide whether or not they want to add that as a major to UCSB. I'll remind you that the CCS website showcases the application, and that application has a December 28th deadline. Whew. And that is the end of our session. I hope that that was beneficial. I hope that it gave you a little bit of an understanding of the process for supplemental applications and auditions here at UC Santa Barbara. I'll repeat that the beginning is true for all UC campuses. If there is a supplement or an audition, it will be noted when the student selects their major in the UC application. When you're helping your student push submit on the application, if you see that supplement, please remind the student that there are deadlines for those particular processes. If a student misses those deadlines, it could mean that they're missing that chance for that particular entry as an incoming student, or they're missing that chance to be admitted to the campus, period. All right. With that, I will hang out to answer additional questions because I love answering questions for you, but I do know that you're busy and you could always use extra time. So on behalf of the Office of Admissions at UC Santa Barbara, I always thank you for your partnership. You're amazing colleagues. Hang in there. November 30th is coming. As you know, the application process for the University of California is November 1st through November 30th. You are always welcome to check out our quick links and our counselor resources. This particular webinar will be listed on our YouTube channel along with the other counselor sessions that we offer. So if you needed a refresher on anything, please don't hesitate to ask. You'll find additional options and opportunities for you from transfer admissions, requirements, transcripts, and all those other things. Our great student panel in February from our students asking you or telling you what they wish they would have known. But of course, as I said, the YouTube channel is where you will find a lot of these recordings after the fact. YouTube is UCSB for me. You'll find two really cool things. One is a UC application playlist. If you haven't had a time to link this to your students, please do. It includes a 3 to 7 minute overview of what to do. For example, what not to do in the personal insight questions. You just saw that particular list right there. You'll also see within this the opportunity for you to get a faculty lecture series. Are you looking at educating your students about social justice? There's some great webinars from the history of Henrietta Lacks and the biology component, the immigration series from one of our professors who's written multiple books on immigration and migration for California, to a conversation with Jeffrey Stewart, Pulitzer Prize winner for his 2019 book, The New Negro, The Life of Alan Locke. Great options. And then, as I said, you'll see our faculty, our counselor playlist available to you under the playlist options. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any other questions that you might have. Have a great week, everybody. Take care. Question. How would you best explain the differences from a student learning the College of Creative Studies majors versus the College of Letters and Science? Letters and Science, broad-based, liberal arts. You'll have lots of electives and options to look at how things intersect. College of Creative Studies, narrow focus. While you look at that intersection, you have a very specific component of that major that you have an obsession with, a desire to create new knowledge in. I think that helps, right? All right, my friends, as always, it's lovely to hang out with you. I hope to do it in person soon. Take care, everyone.